go. Perfect. Okay, so we're coming from the sweltering northwest of the United States. Gene, what kind of temperatures do you have over there now?
In the because right now it's at night, so maybe the temperature will be about 26 or 25
Mm-hmm.
Celsius. In the daytime, it's about 20, 30, 32, or because it's raining, so it will be 28.
Mm-hmm.
So we are warm. We are warm. You know, it's forever summer,
Right.
forever summer.
Yeah.
And here is good in the sense that I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Some people don't like the humidity, but the humidity keep our skin moist.
Right.
So most of the people here, when they grow older, they don't age so much because the skin is moist, not so
Mm-hmm.
dry. Yeah.
Yep.
So it has its benefits also with the humidity. By and large, it's a very beautiful country. Every day is a summer day. We only have rain and shine. And when it storm, it comes, just in an hour or so, thunder
Right.
and rain, then it goes off. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's a very livable country without too much, no volcano, no eruptions, and
Well,
but
that's always
like,
a plus.
because it is a peninsula, so it's very protected. Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Well, that's good. Yeah, so you're
Mm.
used to it. We're not quite used to this type of sweltering heat in this area. Um, but
How
it
many
is what it
degrees are you
is.
there? How many
Excuse.
degrees are you now?
Well, right now, currently, we are at about 80 degrees,
Oh, that's
and
Fahrenheit. So it's in
it'll get
Celsius.
up into the 90s, and then tomorrow and Monday it's going to be over 100.
So you use Fahrenheit, we use Celsius.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, Gary and I were trying to do the conversion because he does Celsius too. It's like, what's that? Huh?
Hi, Gary.
We're both on our calculators trying to figure it out. But it's really more of a matter of not so much, looking at the numbers as, what we in our environment are accustomed to. And like, for example, here, we're used to a lot more moisture now. Granted, in the summer, we do get generally about 3 straight months of zero rain, but the temperature doesn't get too high because we're right on the ocean as well, or close to
Mm.
it. And but this year is going to be a little bit different, so we'll just kind of wait and see. But it's just a matter of adapting. And a little bit more humid here, not nearly as humid it is where you're at, but you're again accustomed to it, so you've adapted. Gary, is it working? Gary was having some technical difficulties earlier.
Yeah, I'm just doing some entry of info here for Facebook.
Okay. And then Trisha, where are you from? Go ahead and use the chat box. Why don't you tell us where you're from, if you'd like. I see you're there. I see you. So we're just up on the hour right now. So a few more people should probably be jumping in. But we're going to go ahead and get started though here.
Live now. So
Yes.
Yep.
Fantastic. Talk about timing.
Josephine.
Good job. Gary is our official IT guy.
Official.
Official.
Hey Josephine, how you doing?
I had you a name tag made. Didn't you use it? Hi, Josephine.
Good morning.
Name tag? I want a banner. What the heck?
Name tag. No, banners go to your head. It's just like... Josephine, how are you?
I'm good.
Where are you coming from?
Alberta, Canada.
Oh, okay. What part?
Saskatchewan.
Pardon me?
Saskatchewan, right?
No, Alberta.
Alberta. Oh, okay.
Grand Prairie.
Oh, Grand Prairie. Okay.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us.
Oh, I love this stuff. Like, this is my jam.
You hear that, Gary? We're her jam.
I know.
You're the peanut butter. I'm the jam. Well, good. We're so glad you could join us. We were just talking about the weather as we were trying to get a couple of technical difficulties out of the way. You know, Gary and I were over on the western edge. I'm in Seattle, and he's up in near Vancouver, and it's warm.
Yeah,
It's
you're
quite
getting
warm.
heat up there too, right? Not you haven't gotten the full brunt of it yet, but I don't know, you're getting it pretty hot up there too in Grand Prairie. It's getting there.
Next week.
Yeah.
Next week it's supposed to get close to like the 40s.
Yeah. Same here. We hit 40. We're supposed to hit. I've seen anywhere from 42 to 47 on Monday.
Oh, that's very high. We
Yeah.
never get that. We never get that in Malaysia.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we're very lucky in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, I've been out here in BC for 11 years now, and this is the first time I've ever gotten this hot. Have you seen it this hot ever, Ross?
Not in Seattle. Now, I used to live over in Spokane in Eastern Washington, where we did get this kind of temperature.
Wow.
But on the Seattle side, I can't remember where it's been. We've hit these numbers, and what I was saying earlier is that, you know, it's really a matter of, you know, if you take like what happened in the wintertime down in Texas, where they got, you know, just that intense snowstorm and that intense cold, and it completely knocked down their infrastructure because they were not prepared for it. And you know, the opposite can now start to happen, is our infrastructure is prepared for this type of heat.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of businesses have to close down, and because it's a safety hazard, right? I mean, it's
You got that. Air conditioning units are going to break down. Cooling units for machinery, and you know, I can't imagine what some of these server farms are going to be going through, you know, with this type of heat, because that's a majority of their setup is just the cooling systems to keep all their equipment cool. But it's going to be real interesting to see what happens. And but it is what it is. We bought a wading pool for our dogs, so they can go swimming and stay cool. I have huskies, so they don't care for the heat.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask Josephine. Josephine, your Alberta should be very beautiful. I haven't been there. I've read about it. Alberta is very beautiful in Canada.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'd have to say, I think like BC is far more beautiful than Alberta.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm
really?
actually a BC born.
Yeah, are you really? Yeah.
Yeah, Port Nelson.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Little place.
nice. Yeah, I grew up.
Maria, how are you? Maria, can you hear us?
Hi, yes, I can hear you well. Hi,
So,
I'm well, thanks, and I hope you
Yes.
too.
We're doing good. We're all sweltering here a little bit, so it is what it is. I mean, I've lived here in this house for 23 years, and yesterday was the first time I actually felt the need to install an air conditioner. So that's what I did yesterday. We actually went out and got an air conditioner and actually installed it. And I'm like, this is really weird. Just for at night, just so, you know, just for better sleep at night.
Yeah, sleep was horrible last night. It was
Yeah.
horrible for everybody in the house,
Exactly.
including the dog.
yeah, but in Malaysia here, every home almost have air conditioner.
Yeah, well, you'd have to, right? Because you
Yeah.
get it regularly, right? We just don't get
They're used. It's just like me right now. I have the aircon on. Yeah.
My wife likes the heat, so like she goes to visit her parents about 3 times a year down in Palm Desert, which is in California, and it'll get 110, 115 down there. And they always ask us, like, you know, doesn't Ross? How come Ross doesn't like it? And he's like, he just can't take the heat. You know, by the time he adapts, by the time it's ready to leave. And so I'm just like, yeah. So it is what it is. So anyhow, let's get going. You know, we decided on Thursday when we were doing the show, I mean, Gary had a great idea. He goes, you know what? We should talk about the monkey mind on, or at least start with talking about the monkey mind on Down the Rabbit Hole. And I thought it was a great idea because the monkey mind is our friend. And a lot of people don't realize that it's something that that is very, very useful to us. and there's a lot of negative connotations about it. So for those of you who don't understand the definition of the monkey mind is that part of you that obsessed, that part of you that's always worrying, that the what if mind. So it's like, what if this happens? What if that happens? Oh, this happened. And it just goes over and over and over and over in your head. You're like, oh, I should have done this. I should have done this. And it just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. And that's kind of the monkey mind. We overthink everything. It's just that part of your brain that can't let you focus because it's doing its job. It's doing what it was designed for. Now, granted, that design was what, Gary, 100,000 years ago? Somewhere around there. The monkey mind was that part of the mind that when we as a species were, out in the prairies or out in the fields or the forest, that was the part that was looking for danger and being hypersensitive to what's out there to protect us. That's what its job was, or is still. Its job is to protect us, to be hypervigilant, to keep us safe. So it wants us to be in our comfort zone. So back then when we walked out of the cave, it's like, okay, we're a lot safer in the cave, but obviously our body's going, yeah, but I'm kind of hungry. So, but it has not evolved very much. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, society has evolved. Technology has evolved. Populations have evolved. All the way around the environment, the scenarios that we're constantly in have evolved as well. But when we are out in our normal lives today, we're not looking for tigers and lions and bears. Oh my. No. We're looking for, does that guy see me? Why is that guy cutting in line in front of me? Why is that person being such a jerk? That person's a jerk. So do I need to be on the defensive? Because usually when somebody treats me like that, that means that a fight is going to ensue. So, and all the monkey mind's doing is just going, what about, what if, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that, look at this. And then on top of that, we add our media, we add news, we add TV, we add, even video games, all of these things. You have to understand that the brain doesn't know they're fake. It doesn't understand that part of the brain. Let me change that. That part of the brain doesn't understand that, oh, this video game isn't real. Or, oh, that TV show isn't real. How come I'm crying? It's really sad. So we're constantly hyper stimulating that monkey mind, that part of our brain. And what we want to talk about today is the fact that there's a lot of information out there. And this is my belief. There's a lot of information out there that really says, oh, the monkey mind is bad. You have to get rid of the monkey mind. You have to get rid of this, and you have to just knock it down and get it under control. And yes, to a degree, but as we said on Thursday's show, it's part of you. You can't.
An essential part. It's not just a part of you. It's
exactly. You can't just get rid of it. It's part of you. But it's the difference between it's a difference of using your monkey mind or being used by your monkey mind. That's the difference. So we want to say, I understand you're here. I understand what you're doing. Thank you. I see that. Now let's move on.
Yeah, and I think that, there's so many different ways to look at this, but
yes,
the thing I wonder is, if because I get that there's all this push for taming the monkey mind, quieting the monkey mind, or there's all kinds of, and again, monkey mind, for those who don't know, it's really just the inner chatter, the ongoing chatter that's like, it's busy, right? It's the busyness of the mind. And there's a lot of people out there talking about the importance of and the need to tame it, quiet it, or like Ross said, even get rid of it or whatever. And I wonder if there would be such a push, if we had conditioned our monkey mind, because it's conditioned to be that busy, right? It's conditioned by the media, it's conditioned by society, it's conditioned in a variety of different ways, environment and necessity and things like that. So I get that. But if you're, I mean, think about this. If our monkey mind was designed and conditioned to be busy with thoughts of joy and ecstasy and pleasure, I don't think we'd want to quiet it so much.
Exactly.
The only reason people want to quiet it is because it's doing things that they feel is not in alignment with that vibration of joy, ecstasy, and celebration, which is really all what the stream was about on, or a lot of what the stream was about on Thursday. You know, it's what's the vibration that you're and the intent that you're putting out there with that mind, right? If you know, if someone could, and I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about it. If my monkey mind was consistently conditioned to bring ecstasy, I mean, oh, why would I want to tame it? I mean, go wild, man. I mean, it's
Your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
right.
Exactly.
You know, so so I think it's, you know, it's an interesting topic that we're, as humans, consistently, or not consistent, but a lot, I see a lot of you know, wanting to be in control of things, you know, and harnessing it, when sometimes if that thing, whatever it is, whether it's your emotions or your you know, your relationship, if those things brought more of the pure vibration of yourself, then you wouldn't really want to control it. You want more of that.
Yeah, observe it.
Yeah, it's how you express who you are, right? That vibration becomes more of your truth, and you can live in that, right?
I think it's a matter of and Gary, let me know if you agree with this or not, but it's a matter of harnessing its power and it's what it does. So granted, you don't want to, you always want to be in a state of joy, but there's, you know, there's that balance point too, as to where, depending on the situation that you're in, you know, do you need to pull back a little bit? I mean, you know, it's a matter of, you know, having a bridle on your monkey mind. Say, whoa, 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 I understand what you're doing. I like that, and we're going to hang on to that, but we're not going to let it take over per se. We're just going to kind of hold it back, so it becomes more of an energy behind you of helping you push through a situation. I mean, I would, for the longest time when I was younger, I mean, my monkey mind was, you know, that was it. That was all I was. And I realized that I was kind of going all over the place though. And I just wanted to harness, I wanted to bring it in a little bit and say, you know, I like the feeling. I like this feeling. I like the energy of the monkey mind. I love the energy and such, but I just want to kind of be able to steer it, but I don't want to stifle it. But I did, I over stifled it and such. And I just, you know, threw a big wet blanket on top of it and said, no, just, I need to do this. This is what society told me to be like. And I need to do
Learning
this.
to work with the different personas of the monkey mind as well.
Exactly.
You know, like where is that coming from? So it's like learning to work with it, and, you know, more self-observation, so that, you know, like you can, you know, like why is the monkey mind triggered in this moment? You know, like what can I learn from the monkey mind?
Oh, exactly. Exactly. And it's creating that communication, of bridging that communication between what you really want to do and what you kind of need to do. You know, I mean, we all know the person or people or group of people or whatever the case, that, you know, the monkey mind completely steers them. And by our perception, they're in a world of chaos.
Well, that's not our monkeys.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. It's our perception. our perception. I mean, to them, they're just like, oh, this is great. Let's do this. Oh, let's do this. Oh, let's go over here and such. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're, so again, that's theirs. And if that's the way that they want to be, then that's cool with them. That's their choice. Then it's our choice of whether we want to be in that environment with them. And because sometimes, I mean, I've known a lot of people where it's just like, this is not going right. You're drawing me too much into that, in my mind, chaos. So
Yeah.
I like to have,
Their
again,
story.
I like it to have everything a little bit more harnessed. So that, but again, still being in the state of now, the state of joy and excitement. And I feel that comes from that part of my mind. And like, this is really, really cool. Let's go do this. But in my mind, I tame it just a little bit so that I can better use it so I'm in control and such, and I can steer it and say, okay, I've got a bridle on that and I'm just pulling that monkey this way, or I'm pulling it this way, but I'm still harnessing the mind. The monkey mind is still drawing me. If you want to use this as an analogy of a horse, the horse is still doing the work and is still drawing me, but I'm just able to now steer where that's going to go.
You're giving it intention.
That energy. What's that, Gary?
You're giving it intention. Intention gives it that direction of where you want to go. And so I don't know if it's necessarily controlling it as far as you're just setting the intention, and you're deciding where you put the carrot for the horse to go. Because
you like carrots? Oh no, we're talking a horse. Sorry, wrong animal.
Yeah.
Banana.
So yeah, so I think again it comes back to the intention part of it. Is what's the intent? And back to your original question of if there's times when you want to harness it or put it aside, and again, I think that if you allow, I think if we number one trust in our core self, and know that piece of us, like Josephine said, is there to serve us in different ways, and some of that may be to give you an experience, some of it may be to teach you something, some of it may be for you to become aware of things that maybe you wouldn't have been aware of. So I think there would be a natural flow that monkey mind would have, where you wouldn't always constantly 24/7 be in ecstasy because you couldn't sleep. I think it would have its natural flow.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like Josephine said, then there's also the tribe aspect of it, who you're with and who you attract. Then that's going to influence it too, because it's not just our monkey mind, right? You have to think there's societal monkey mind too. There's environment, there's the community monkey mind, which plays a role, right? Which you participate with or you don't. And then there's society monkey mind, and then there's global monkey mind, right? And you can see it out there. I mean, I look at it all the time. I see I observe from a distance the way that the societal monkey mind, jumps people's thought patterns to different things. And in some sense, yeah, it does control it. And I say some sense because I believe we at the base level we always have choice, so it's still people's choice. And it's when you're in scenarios that you can't find the value in that scenario, I think is when you would want to have control of the monkey mind. And I say you can't find, because I believe there's always something in there that you can find that's it's there to serve you for some reason. It's when you can't find that, then you need to find a way to harness that monkey mind, and whether it's steer, put the intent, put the carrot out, whatever it is, to move you along a path that's more resourceful. But I think if you were to allow the trust, I think that's a big piece of it, trust in your higher self, to say that, hey, everything happens for a reason, right? Even the chaos.
Everything's pre-written.
Absolutely, right? It's every, I would say it's every potential path is pre-written, because you can still choose which path, which pre-written path you go along.
Like spiderweb.
Yeah, right. So you still have choice in each of those moments, but when you make that choice, I think that there's an unfolding natural. Okay, well, that's what's going to happen during this pathway, right? And so it's getting back to that CCP, that choice convergence point of, okay, now I'm more at a place of choices. How do I choose to allow this thought process or this experience to serve me? And if I can't find that, then maybe I need to look at, okay, what's distracting me? What's preventing me from finding that?
Well, I think then that kind of puts us into parallel universes, right?
It adds that into the mix. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. You know, so because, you know, the conversation I just had was just a linear timeline, right?
This is the rabbit hole.
But you have to, I think in that when you are making those decisions of you know which path you're going to go down, again, if you, let's say you just simply had two choices, you can probably bet that the monkey mind is going to go down the easiest path or the funnest path and such. This is good for me now. I'll worry about the future later, blah, 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 blah. You know, this is just going to be fun. It just is going to be great. This is what I want to do and such. And this is, again, when you're at that choice convergence is where you're kind of like, well, yeah, that would be fun, you know, but, you know, this is when I alluded to this on Thursday. It's like, yeah, that's going to be great. Now it's going to be fun. And that's going to be, yeah, that looks like a lot of just a blast. But, you know, I have to work in the morning, or, you know, that's going to cost a lot and I got rent to pay, or, you know, there's a certain amount of just like, yeah, you know, let's maybe find a compromise or some variation thereof and as such. And that's just simply the harnessing of, this is our, as Gary said, this is our intention, but I don't think that's quite the right path for it. So there becomes a conversation.
Now it becomes more of like an air balloon.
What's that?
I said, so then it now becomes more like an air balloon.
An air balloon?
Not so much riding a horse.
Oh, great. Another analogy. Yes. But, you know, yeah, to a degree, exactly. And that's where, you know, understanding that it's not just you talking to yourself. It's not just like, why is this always happening to me? Well, this is because you're probably following your monkey mind too much. If why this is always happening to me has a negative connotation. At the same time, you know, if you're just living in this life of joy and bliss and happiness and everything is going great and such, all right, it's working for you. So that's the learning process that Gary's talking about. It's just like, listen, it's like, if it's working, then fine. You know, don't let society tell you, and we talked about this on Thursday, don't let society tell you that that in order to feel like, feel guilty because you feel so good. Well, no, you can't be like that. That's not what life is all about. Life is about pain. Life is about work. Life is about, you know, this and this and this and this. Like, well, your life. And that's the place that we need to get to. It's just like, okay, well, that works for you. That doesn't work for me. So this is the path.
No. The people say it must be your pain too. Sorry, I must say that. But most people out there say you must have pain like me. Then you're a normal human.
Well, actually, what they're saying is that you can't have a better life than me. You can't be happier than me.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
that's
Really
society,
what
right?
they're telling you. It's like, no,
That's
no,
the
no, no, no.
society or community monkey mind that's coming into play there, which I talked about.
Correct.
It's where other people want you to conform to
Gossip.
the way that they're collectively thinking.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You can't be more successful. You can't be happier. You can't be, more carefree, whatever the case may be. You should conform to my standard, my box.
Yes. Because they don't say that I'm working on myself every day. They don't see that.
Correct.
And then they tell that I'm so lucky. Why you are so lucky, and why you have no so much stress like me? That's not normal. You must be strong. You must have a big stress. Then you are a big woman. That's not true.
Right.
That's absolutely not true.
Mhm.
That's a very bad collective thinking.
Mhm.
That's
But
It's a
again,
big problem of
your
environment.
choice, is that going to be my thinking, or is that going to continue, just let that be theirs? So the idea is that, that's them,
Yeah, that sounds like mirror work.
to a degree. Yeah. It's like, that's you. You can keep going that way, but I'm going to go this way. So, two more paths. It's like, yeah, well, you can keep going. That's again, when you hear that, people say, as people become more enlightened, that their friends change.
Oh, yes.
They're the people that they associate with change, because there's other people, or they'll change with you. But those people, you just like, yeah, that's just not working. And to a certain degree, yeah, you make some of the decisions, but a lot of times they will. They're just like, you're just too happy. I just, you're just not responsible. Well, how am I not responsible? But I don't try to change anyone, any of the people that I associate with. I'm just, hey, listen, this is just the way I am. And
Be the example.
you kind of take it or leave it. That's fine. I'd like it if you take it, and we could find I don't want you to change, but at the same time, I can't be around if you want to say negativity or whatever you want to call it. It's just like, it's just, it's just not for me. But in most cases, what I have found is that most of those people, they just like, I'm gonna go find somebody else that I can, what's the term?
Manipulate.
No, where they just feed each other. The echo chamber. That's what it is. It's the echo chamber, where that's what the biggest thing on social media is. Social media is just a giant echo chamber.
Mm-hmm.
You gravitate towards the people that just want to, be this way. It's not negative or positive, really. It's just like, where you're talking about the vibe of the tribe. It's just like, this is the tribe that I'm more comfortable with. So I don't want to deal with all this kind of stuff. This is just not for me, because it doesn't help me grow. I mean, it does to a degree. There's learning there, but it just doesn't really serve me. I'm going to go over here where it's more growth oriented, where this is, all you guys want to do is put people down and bash people and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, that's just not for me.
Yeah,
And
those
what
people
I
are
like
friends.
about social media, though, is that, if I go more towards the growth orientation, the algorithms of social media will give me more of that. That's what I like about that. If you want to change the feed that you get on any of your social media, just always only like dog and puppy posts, and then that's all you'll start getting. Cute little dog and puppy posts, or just the positive stuff. Just like and react to that, and the other stuff, don't react at all. I am neutral. And you'll just see in 30 days, you'll see a complete reversal of your feed on social media. Well, people are the same way.
That's how infinity metrics came into my feed. I
I
never knew
rest my case.
go into my feet. And then I like what I read, and then that's how it all started. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Uni was not introduced anywhere. It just came into our feed because they know what we like, more deep thinking, more beyond just the as you said, beyond just the normal monkey mind, that's just disturbing you on all kinds of things and entertaining those areas that don't serve you. Yeah. So we prefer the monkey mind that looks into the quantum physics and everything else. So that's why you came into our feed.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
So that, I guess we're quantum monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the quantum monkey. That's, see if that URL is available. The quantum monkey.
Maybe you're channeling Darwin.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at even from a cellular, like I was talking about that Netflix show on the last stream, the if you look at just even the intelligence in our cellular structure and the way it functions, you'd think that even at the cellular level, it was monkey mind. The way that the intelligence of the body works and the seemingly radical chaos that's constantly going on just in the body itself, not even talking about the rest of the reality that we create. From a cellular structure, it's ridiculous. I mean, again, you should, if you haven't watched it yet, Ross, you should watch it.
I looked it up. I put it on my favorite list.
It's such a good show to just kind of remind you. We keep talking every week about the quantum field, and a lot of what we talk about is the external matrix, because people can relate with that, but the internal matrix of not only the thoughts, because that they didn't get into that part of it. They're getting into more of the way the right down to the the genetics of your body works and the building blocks of who we are. And it's just a reminder that it's what we're talking about on this level happens at a very micro level as well, right? So the internal matrix is becomes again that reflection of what's going on in the external. And I think that if we have this, and even the thought process is still to some degree not fully into, it's kind of like a bridge, I guess, between the matrix, if you think about it, which even creates another, I mean, my head's going, okay, well, maybe there's another matrix within that influences the two other matrices, what we see out there and what's...
It sounds almost like a holographic matrix within a matrix.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, because what we do with the building blocks, I believe, would impact the thought processes, which would then impact out there, which is what Bruce talks about, right? Mm-hmm. And vice versa, what we do out there in our environment, what we surround ourselves or place ourselves in, will impact the thought processes, which then impacts how the functioning of the building blocks work. And it's always doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, again, comes back to the intention that we put out behind the things we put in our environment, the intention behind the thought processes we cultivate and develop and gravitate to, and then the intention of the core building blocks, which is really, as far as we've seen and as far as science tells us, its essential elements is about survival and evolution, right? So it comes back to that. Right. And whatever it needs to do to make that happen, it does it. Right? Sometimes it gives you pain so that you don't do that thing, or so that you learn, and sometimes it gives you pleasure because, so it's all of it. And part of my hesitation with, and I get the harnessing thing, part of my hesitation with it is when you start to harness it or try to control it, that can only be done from a mindset of judgment. and judging that thing to be good or bad. And judgment, the challenge with that I see, and I'm not, again, there's no answer to this, I don't think necessarily, but the challenge to the judgment piece of it is that you can only judge something by a preconceived idea of what it might do in the future to you. So it's not a certainty. And so then we're controlling and harnessing something based on things we've learned in the past, things we've experienced in the past about potential or probable future things, but not certainty. Right? And so how much of that control harness is maybe the question, or you know, or when, and the why behind it is I think more of a bigger question as opposed to whether we should or shouldn't.
Well, but I don't know if I would go to the point of whether it's be good or bad as to whether it is serving my current intention. By using all the information that you have, this is the intention that this is my ultimate intention, and taking in all the data that you have, is like, okay, this decision, this choice better serves, from what I understand or from what I know, this better serves my intention.
And then
and it's not really whether it's good or bad. It's just like, no, this is, it's, you know, this isn't, you know, this, it's not a behavioral thing. It's just, this better serves the direction that I want to go. With everything that I know right now, this is the better way.
with your intuition, you make the choice with your intuition, because of all this information in your brain. And that I love that heart and brain. That's a collision collision together.
And a lot of times that heart is the decision maker. And where you know, instead of trying to overthink it, you know, perhaps we should overfeel it. It's like, how does this feel? You know, I mean, using different types of kinesiology techniques to, you know, get back in touch with your heart and your body and say, okay, you know, my brain is only 20% of my body, so you guys know some stuff too. So let's talk, let's communicate everything together, and using those techniques as well to say, what is my body telling me? Because we as a society have really lost touch with our bodies. In most cases, we've lost that. We excuse, oh, that's just, you know, that's just a thought. That's, or not, excuse me, not a thought. That's just a feeling. It's just a sensation. Oh, that's just, you know, that's just an upset stomach. Oh, that's just a headache. Oh, that's just a, you know, a twinge. It's like, well, are you sure? You sure it's not a communication?
I actually teach people how to listen to their body, like to, you know, like that's how I found out that I didn't have hypothyroidism. My doctor kept saying it, and my body kept saying, you don't have that. And I'm like, well, the doctors say it, and it's, you know, and I'm having that inner conflict, right? So I went to a naturopath, and it was actually Hashimoto's. Yeah. So I'm now more focused on, you know, how to work with my body, and, you know, like the different changes I have to make for it.
That was the decision I made a long time ago as well, is that I'm talking with a doctor and I'm just like, you know, that just doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound right. And I just found a doctor that, you know,
really dig deep.
Yeah. So what would be the first thing that you would teach somebody or tell somebody when it comes to increasing their communication with their body?
I would ask them, do you want to know what your body wants to tell you? And they'll say yes or no, or, you know, like, well, how do you do that? And then so I'll have them stand and have their feet about shoulder apart. And then I would have them close their eyes and say to their body, show me yes, and see what it does. And then ask again, just to validate that that's the direction you got. And then the same thing for no. And then once that happens, well, then I'll give them different things that I know is good for them or not good for them. And then I'll say, like, you know, and then they feel it themselves. And then they're like, holy crap, my body actually just told me, like, wow, I could feel it, you know. And then it's, you know, it completely changes how they go about asking questions, or, you know, like trusting whether something's right or good for on or in their body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in hypnotherapy, we used to do something similar. We would set yes and no cues. And so that what we would do is we would set it up where when a person was in trance, that we would get them to use one finger or the other for a yes. So we'd say, so unconscious mind, go ahead and give me a yes and go bye. And so we'd give them direction, because many times people didn't have that connection with self to trust it enough to know that that was yes or that was no. So you have to build that, right? And so what we would do is, well, just to speed things up in hypnotherapy, we'd say, okay, well, as a therapist, many times we would choose what the yes or no signal is, because it could be so many things to the individual, and because we're not them, we wouldn't know, because it could have been a flash of an image, it could have been you know, a rumbling of the stomach, it could have been a tingling in the toes, it could have been anything. And so for us to see visually as we're doing trance, we would say, okay, so unconscious mind, I want you to take that yes signal, put in the right finger, and when the right finger moves quickly, then give me a yes response. And for a no response, give me a no response, right? And so then as we're doing hypnosis, we would then do things, and we would track and notice when the unconscious mind is saying yes or no. Because it wouldn't be, it's not a movement that it's different than a conscious moving of the finger, right? It was more of a, just a, like, you know, when your body just kind of jolts like that, it was very just like
Involuntary.
Absolutely, yeah. And so we would set that up, and then as someone's going through trance, you can have this conversation with the unconscious mind by asking it, you know, are you willing to do this? Yes or no? Okay, no. Well, why not? And we would go through, we'd take them through another, well, would you try this instead? Yes or no? And then da. And so we'd go through different processes, and then they develop that. And what you would do is, after time, and sometimes it didn't take more than 1 or 2 sessions, you wouldn't have to instruct the unconscious mind at the beginning of the session for yes or no. You just do the session and you start to see the unconscious mind responding. Yeah. And you know, you know, absolutely being in touch with, you know, in that communication cycle with the body, with the heart, with the whatever you want to call it, the emotions, they all kind of work together, right? It's what you tune into, and I think that's a great thing to start with, Josephine, is you know, asking what is a yes or a no signal, and confirming that it's a yes or a no signal, right? And then testing whether it's a yes or no signal.
Oh yeah, like I make sure that they feel it, so that they know what it feels like, you know, as to them, you know, so maybe doing it by themselves, you know, they don't know exactly, you know, just so I do say, you know, like it could be a light, it could be, you know, a feeling, a knowing, you know, like it could be anything, just anything outside or inside of yourself that is you're not doing yourself.
Yeah, when I do conscious trance processes where it's kind of like they think that we're just doing talk therapy, but I'm actually working with the unconscious mind at the same time. You know, we do things like that where we say, well, if you know, if there was a signal that you got for yes, what would it be? You know, just tune in. What's going on? Is it you feel something? If you think about, if you were to say, here's a good thing you can try with them is to get a strong yes. You can say, if there was an activity that if someone would come up to you and ask you if you wanted to do it, that without a question you'd say yes, like in a heartbeat, like, you know, do you want to travel somewhere? Yes, yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, like there's that yes, that strong yes that you get for something, right?
Well, I have another technique that I do the balloon color. I ask them to close their eyes and I ask them imagine what your favorite balloon color would be, and where do you feel that in your body?
Nice.
And same thing with the I call it less than harmonious colors.
Yeah.
so it's not so harsh. So, you know, so then, you know, and then they will feel that as well. So, so there's a couple of the ways I get them to connect, just so they feel it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so again, once they develop that capacity to know what it is, whatever strategy you come up with, then it's practicing listening to that yes when it shows up or the no when it shows up, right? So I would actually give different exercises where I would say, okay, so I want you to, because some people I think a lot of times need to even practice the ability to say no because they're saying yes to all the wrong things, right? And so I'll give them a homework to go home and practice saying no, right? And so I want them to tune in with that part of them that doesn't want to do something, and doesn't like to do certain things, and then take that same feeling and say no to the junk food, say no to the bad behavior, say no, and actually practice it as a conscious activity where they're working on building up that capacity, not only to tune into what yes or no, but also to act and respond to it as well, right? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. It's fun. I love doing this stuff. Like, I love freaking people out. It's like, okay, do you want to feel energy? And it's like, what? Do you want to feel your own energy? And then they're like, oh, how do you do that? It's like, rub your hands together and separate it, and and feel that. What do you feel?
Yeah.
So like, I've taught myself everything, and then I come across so many different people. Like, my favorite is like Joe Dispenza right now.
Yeah, Dispenza is awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that comes to monkey mind control of healing the body.
Yeah, for sure. Do you do any muscle testing stuff?
I'm really connected, so I literally just have to ask and I get a response. So like, I've trained my body like over the years to just automatically just answer me, give me what I'm needing, or like, because I learned to ask questions, because like, really, your body or your guides or anything cannot give you any answers if you don't ask. Like, you seriously have to ask the questions, and then you get the answers, like, whether it be through a text or through something on the TV or music, or like, so then the response comes back. It's whether you're in your monkey mind or present.
Yeah.
Can you, Josephine, can you give an example of that?
Of what, sorry?
Of what you just said, that you get your body to respond to give you an answer. So could you give an example of what you just said?
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so for me over the years, like, asking my body, like, at first it was, like, I didn't know if I was actually hearing, or what, like what it was that I was feeling. So I just started like asking questions like, okay, so I'm feeling anxiety right now. Is this coming from me, or is this coming from somebody else? So then if it's me, then it'll stay. And if it's not, it'll go. So then I know it's somebody else's energy. So then, if it's me, then I start to work with, okay, is, like, is it the environment? Is, like, am I feeling, something from the monkey mind, or, like, or, so then I start to pay attention to my surroundings. So you just start to learn to like train yourself. Like, we do it every day. We just don't realize we're doing it. Like, all of our gifts, we utilize every single day.
Yeah.
That's so important. I love your work.
Thank you.
It's very important.
Yes.
Yeah. And Jean, I mean, it falls in alignment with what we talk about in the 7-day program, where we do question concept, right? It's the questions you ask and the quality of the questions you ask that'll determine the reality you walk into, right? And to know that the question and the answer simultaneously occur. It's not one and then the other. They're simultaneously happen in reality. So you ask the question, the answer is already there, or the answer was there and the question was already. So they're both always existing for you, and it's about tuning into what are those questions you're focusing on and asking, and what's the result you're getting from that question. So that's great, Josephine. You've done some good work there.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the way that you express the reaction that you get from a lot of the people that you show this to, because we are, again, as a society, conditioned that the answers are always external. They're on
See
Google.
inside yourself.
They're on Google. They're on, I'm going to go talk to this person. I'm going to go talk to this person. It's just like, well, they're here, your medical problems. I know a lot of this, the research, and, Joe Dispenza says the same things. Like, people are going to doctors, asking them for questions when their body's been going, trying to tell them for years.
Like little
there's a problem, but they keep ignoring it.
Yeah, like for me, it's, like I had low iron, so I was seeing hamburgers everywhere. And I love hamburgers. So I indulged.
Exactly.
But I definitely listen. I listen all the time.
Yeah. More and more and more and more and more people should do that. And understand. But as you said, it is a kind of a training process. It's actually a relearning process.
Yeah. Well, people aren't taught to do
we
that.
already know the answers.
Yeah.
But
mind you, then there's that life pattern, right? So then you get into that generational patterning. So, so it's like being awake in a story that, it's just kind of preset.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and, but again, it's you're there by purpose, right? You're there not accidentally. So
yeah, like being awake in a lucid dream.
All right. Yeah, that's great.
But I think just now what Gary, you mentioned, I think is very relevant, is that when the monkey mind is working, it is the way to direct it is the intention you give it. So what's your intention? And then you direct your mind. I think that statement is very relevant and very true, because that is the reality on how to harness it, to be aware of it, and how to harness it in a more in a very it gives you more realistic expectation, and what you can get out of it. Yeah. So the intention, I think it's a very powerful word, when it
Absolutely.
mind.
It's a very powerful method, intention in itself.
Yeah. Yes.
And now
So
everybody has a tool that they can better utilize to, keep you going, so that, you don't want the monkey mind be taking you off of your intention because they see an easier something. Not necessarily has to be hard, but it's like, oh, what's this? The shiny object. That's how I always look at the monkey mind. It's the thing that liked all the shiny objects. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, that looks nice.
I call that the squirrel.
The squirrel. Yeah, and I think I get the monkey metaphor. For me, it was, before monkey mind for me has been a new terminology, maybe in the last 15 years ish, where it's kind of rose up through mindfulness training, right? And that's kind of where it's kind of got its momentum as far as an ongoing metaphor. For me, when I was doing studying the mind and working hypnotherapy and NLP and things like that, I just saw the mind in different age brackets, right? Where you had the fret, like in Kung Fu, we used to teach you the way to be a master is to always have the beginner's mind, right? Is you're always in learning. You're always, instead of it's new, you're looking for the newness of it, and coming from that mindset where you're open for whatever shows up and you're learning from that, instead of coming from I know that already and what else can I know, right? And so the beginner mind is like it's the birth mind. It's where you're in the stage of, for me, it's, from birth till around 3 or 4, right? And then you have the toddler mind, where from between 2 and 7, right? If you were to look at the way a 2 to 7-year-old, you would call that a monkey kid, right? It's they're right. Right? And so the mind is kind of in that stage, and that's the unconscious mind, right? The unconscious mind has that age bracket between 2 and 6 or 7 years old. That's the way that it functions. It functions on in the way that emotionally, the way that a 4 to 6-year-old child would work and function, right? And sometimes you do want to just be a kid and flow with whatever, and it's nice out, let's go play. And and then you have more the teenage-ish, the personality stage, where they're developing who they are, till about 18 or 21. And that age bracket is more thought processes of, is this right for me and who I want to be?
Because sometimes too, people get kind of stuck in those ages.
100%.
Growing
100%. I think most people are still stuck in the 2 to 4 range as far as their thought processes go, and how they are able to manage it. They never get to the point of asking who they are at the source level, and really developing not just the societal persona, but the spiritual persona, and figuring out who that is.
Yeah.
Right. And so then in that stage, and then once you've connected with that and get a sense of who that is, who that soul is, not who the personality is that's showing up to society, who that soul is that's going to come from that, you can have stronger intention in moving towards what you want, because it's coming from source. It's not coming from a monkey mind. It's not coming from a beginner mind that doesn't know anything. Right? And so it's which one is going to serve for for what you need. And the more you can tap into that source energy, then it will, I believe anyways, it'll gravitate you to the one that you need in the moment. Because sometimes you just need to get out and run through the water with the kids.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right? And not care about what the other adults in the playground think about it.
That's it.
I mean,
Yep.
my 8-year-old has different days at school where they do different things, where it's like pajama day, or dress up funny, or whatever day, or crazy hair day, or whatever. And whenever possible, I participate, and I go to school that way with her.
Yeah, me too.
I go in onesies, and
You actually participate in the crazy hair day? How does that work?
I was going to this year, and
Wait.
I actually can. So what I was going to do this year, but the timing, they usually they give you enough notice and I can kind of prepare for it, but the timing didn't work. So what I was going to do, because I had intentions all this year to do that, because I know it comes up every year, and I thought, what can I do? What can I do? And so what I was going to do is I'm going to grow it a little bit. And then what I was going to do is just take my shaver, because I shave, right? I was going to take my shaver and just do random patterns, or have Skylar do it for me. Okay, Skylar, go ahead and shave, and then I'm going to go to work, because I can always clear it up, right? I mean, for me, it's
You could have did a head tattoo.
Well, you can still go as short as you possibly can, and then just give her a permanent marker and have her do that.
I'm kind of ready.
You can go as Caillou.
Maybe next year, we'll see.
Colors. See my dad.
Yeah. So I think it's tuning into what that vibration is that you want to be of and present, and and then you have the mature mind, which is the one that comes from a place of wisdom, from experience, and taking into consideration all of those things, and tends to be in a place of more choice than the others, or conscious choice anyways than the others do. And you know, and I see some people go into the aged mind where they've stopped the process of growth and learning, and they're just kind of, okay, well, this is who I am, I'm stuck in this way, I can't evolve, my brain is shaped, and that's who I'm gonna be for the rest of the, you know, this temporary gig called humanity. And that's the way they play it out. So I think it's more of, you know, what's the age? For me, it's always been, okay, what's the age bracket that you play at? And even within those, there's different stages, right? And to know that we can, by choice, with, you know, with understanding that we always have choice and can get to choice convergence. With choice, we can choose where along that timeline of the mind evolution that we can jump in and play at. Right? Because yeah, sometimes you're right, Ross. Sometimes we need to be in that into that mature mindset that says, okay, no, right now, for the purpose of what we're doing, there's these parameters. And then at other times, the parameters, I'm going to do whatever the hell shows up. I'm just going to flow with whatever happens.
You can think of it the same way as we use our different archetypes to handle different situations. They're different, but it's relatively the same concept. It's like, who do I need to be for this moment?
Yeah.
You know, like Gary's saying, when he's, you know, going to do something crazy with his daughter at school and such, you know, he's not the wise oracle that he is now. He's the, you know, he's going.
I still am. I mean, because I do it intentionally for breaking paradigms too. So I mean, there's.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one, but okay. The oracle might make the decision. You know, but that's, you know, but that's the fun about being human.
Yes.
Okay, that's what it is. It's just like, this is who I am today, and I'm a composite of all of these. Where many people think that I have to be this way all the time, and that's just not fun.
Yeah,
it really isn't.
Well, at least in our eyes, it isn't.
I would think living the monkey mind would be boring all the time, 24/7.
Yeah.
So I should try it before I criticize it, but.
I laugh and giggle a lot of the stuff that comes through my mind. Like, I'll just be walking through the grocery store and all of a sudden I'm just laughing. I'm like, seriously, Joe, stop it. Like, the stuff that comes through, okay, so I don't even know where this one came from. I was out biking and I'm feeling little splashes of water on my skin. And I'm like, what is that? I'm like, it's not raining, you know, like there's no clouds in the sky. Like, what is that? And I heard sacrifice. And I'm like, sacrifice? Who sacrifice? And then I heard bugs. And then I was laughing for like 20 minutes on my bike ride. Like, I had tears. I was laughing so hard. I was like, okay, who is telling me this stuff? Like, seriously, like what purpose was that in that moment? You know what I mean? Like, that was the goofy stuff I get all the time. Like, this stuff that pops in my head, like, I don't know if it's from me or if it's from, you know, monkey mind, but sometimes it's like, okay, where did that come from? Like, seriously, I do not have a recall of sacrificing anything. So that's, you know, that's the funny part, you know, like, because it's like such a harsh word to me, you know, that's not a word I would use. So it's, you know, so it was very awkward, but I found it very funny.
Well, sacrifice doesn't always mean that, you know, you're taking a chicken into the backyard. I mean, it can be sacrifice of time or sacrifice of a friendship. I mean, there's all kinds of connotations that can be under sacrifice. But so, did you ever figure out why you were laughing? What the message was?
I don't know. Like, well, that was just the part. Like, that I found it so funny because it was just a random, you know, like, pop out there, like, and that was, I guess, where did that come from? You know what I mean? Like, you know, because I asked the question and I heard it. So, like, where did it come from? Where in my monkey brain, where did that come from? You know what I mean?
So where did it come from? Where did the water come from?
I'm,
Have you ever considered that you're empathic, that you're actually picking up somebody else?
well, that is actually part of energy work that I work with is, you know, like usually anybody that I come in contact with, I automatically feel what's going on. I actually start talking with them subconsciously, like telepathically. So I'm talking to their higher selves as I'm looking at them, and they're, you know, like, so I'm finding out what's going on, and I'm like reading them as I'm talking to them, and I'm comprehensive of the conversation I'm having with their higher self as I'm still having the mental conversation with the actual person. Like it's that's the level of, you know, really having that connection of, you know, paying attention and asking those questions and listening.
That's awesome.
So yeah, like it freaks me out sometimes because it's like, okay, well, how do you know that? People be like, how do you know that? I'm like, well, I just kind of like to them, I'll just tell them I heard it. You know, it's like, oh, it just popped in my head, you know, because to get really into it, then it's, you know, then it's even a bigger rabbit hole, you know, trying to explain the unexplainable.
Interesting.
Very. Okay, well, that's been about an hour. Any more questions? Anybody have anything else they want to add to the conversation before we wrap it up?
Well,
What's going to be the next topic?
I don't know.
I don't know. What do you want the next topic to be?
It just pop into one or his head or my head. It's like, what would you like? Yeah, good question, Gary. What would you like?
I think, you know, like the aspects of, you know, like healing the body by thought, by intention, you know, like, and what that entails.
That's a great one. Cool.
Yeah.
Like it. Like it. It's a good place to start. It's lots we can go in that for sure.
I will mark it down.
All right.
I am so excited this stuff. This is my jam.
Awesome. All right. Thank you all for showing up, and we will see you next Saturday. I may or may not be here. My older one, my 18-year-old, has a ball tournament, and I'm not sure what our schedule's like yet. So not sure if I'll be able to make the call next Saturday. So
No problem.
maybe running it on.
Yeah. We can do that.
Good luck to your daughter.
Thank you. All right. Be well, everyone.
It's great to see everybody again. Thank
Bye,
you so much.
everyone. Love and light.
Yes, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.